My biggest fear was when you're sitting there in your academy and you're waiting for people to walk in that door and you're sitting there staring at it and then you just go home because nobody shows up. I think that's the biggest fear. And it will happen when you're starting. It's just the way it is.
Welcome to this episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. We got Eric here live on Whatnot. We are streaming on Facebook, also streaming on YouTube as well for anybody that's out there. But we can't see your comments if you're on Facebook and YouTube, but you can still drop a comment. We will see it later. I'm your host, Jonathan Pu'u of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. Pu'u Muay Thai, if you're just tuning in for your first time here on Whatnot, then you might not know who we are. We're a Muay Thai Academy out of Ventura, California. We have a Muay Thai podcast studio here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We have been operating since 2014. And the thing that a lot of people might not know is that we actually license out some of our programs. And what that means is we help other Muay Thai programs grow, start, and build, right? So Eric is one of those people in Parker, Colorado, right, Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been one of our licensees. He's blowing up over there. He's going to have some killers coming out of there. I know that. And already has some killers coming out of there for people who are training and stuff too. So super stoked to have you. So Eric, what got you to start Keep City Muay Thai?
Well, when I worked over at Pu'u Muay Thai, I really enjoyed, being the guy running things and, running the program and everything. And I liked the responsibility of being a head coach.
Yeah.
I think when I moved back to Colorado and I fell back into the position I was in again, I didn't feel the importance as much. I didn't feel the motivation to, push harder and do all that. So I felt like I was in a box. I couldn't expand out. So I realized I wanted to start my own program. I wanted to kind of do things my own way a little bit because I felt like I had a lot of skills that weren't being used.
So let's rewind a little bit there. So for those that don't know, so you worked at Pu'u Muay Thai in Ventura.
Yeah,
right?
during COVID.
Yeah, it was during COVID time. You showed up. I was like, hey, things are kind of weird right now. I don't know how much work we're going to have, but if you're cool with it, and we kind of learned that we were on the same page about it.
Yeah.
So that was when you came in. How many years you worked for us?
Almost a year.
Dude, it seems like that whole year seems longer.
It was longer. Yeah.
COVID time extrapolated everything out.
Yeah.
With that, I know you were saying you enjoyed the program and doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to become a licensee of Pu'u Muay Thai?
The groundwork was already set there, and it was a place to build from a nice solid foundation where, when you first start doing this, you don't know what you're doing at all. I don't think anybody does, but you kind of just weave through and you kind of figure out, you take different avenues and you kind of see what works, and it's a lot of trial and error. But I think when you have that structure underneath you, it takes a lot of the error out of the trial and error.
Yeah.
So, you're still of course, there's going to be lots of error still, but, a little bit less helps.
Yeah, 100%. Was that kind of to help jumpstart and have those guides and that groundwork there so that way you can kind of hit the ground running a little bit more?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your vision for Teep City Muay Thai before you opened your doors?
It's kind of similar to where I think I'm at right now, but, my vision was I want to start a place that can accommodate all levels. That's what I've really seen a big flaw in a lot of different academies and stuff is they're very geared towards a beginner, or it's like you walk in and you feel like an idiot. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, there's no transition to bring people up, and I think a lot of that is a lot of martial arts gyms and stuff. They're trying to kind of do a little bit of everything. They're trying to have a cardio kickboxing program. They're trying to have this program, that program. And you only have so many hours every single night. So kind of what I've done is we've set up the levels. You got your fundamentals classes, you got your intermediate classes, and then you got your introductory classes as well. So being able to start people at square one and move them, but I think that helps a lot. In having that structure of I can start you here and we can bring you all the way to here.
So it was your vision to be able to have a good journey to put the students through to be able to get them to progress?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just the highest performers that all the way through. It's the people that, maybe they didn't expect much out of, where they were going to go from it, but you're able to build them up.
Mhm. When you did start, what kind of fears or doubts did you have in the beginning of starting your own place?
My biggest fear was, you're sitting there in your academy and you're waiting for people to walk in that door and you're sitting there staring at it. And then you just go home because nobody shows up. I think that's the biggest fear. And it will happen when you're starting. It's just the way it is. You start with a core group of people, there's going to be nights when nobody shows up and you've driven there, you've gotten prepped for class and everything. And then 10 minutes later, you're packing up and you're leaving. So,
Yeah, that's never a good feeling. But was that like, that's a fear I think for any business though, right?
right.
It is like, hey, like if you're a restaurant, it's like every day you got to try to get customers in the door, which I think is a little bit harder because you're trying to get them to purchase from you all the time,
Right.
uh, on like a set scenario, for something like that. But what other doubts did you have?
I guess like getting like a lease and like being able to get a landlord to want you to move in, that was a big one. Actually, a lot of ads that were out and they've have in the fine print, we're not leasing to any martial arts places. And I found that a little bit strange, but I guess there's a lot of places that don't want like karate or whatever moving into their space because I think a lot of those places end up defaulting on their leases a lot. And then sometimes there's already 5 taekwondo places or whatever in a 1 mile radius. So you have to be the one that stands out and you got to convince the landlord that you're different.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
how did you overcome that?
we talked about the subscription model right away with the landlords. So instead of saying, "Hey, I'm a karate studio," which I'm not,
But
or
so that information, how did you get that information, my friend?
"I got that from you."
Yeah.
We're a subscription-based model
Business, right?
business. Yeah, exactly.
Recurring subscription based business.
Exactly. Yeah, and then, like, sometimes you're like, "Muay Thai." Of course, what's the response you get from 9 out of 10 landlords? "What is that?"
Yeah. You're like, don't worry,
Okay.
it's nothing funny. I swear. It's not Thai massage.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's not a Thai restaurant. We have, Thai pads, but we don't have pad Thai.
Oh,
Um,
dropping the jokes, man.
yeah, so, you gotta explain, "Oh, we kinda do like kickboxing, but we actually teach how to do it for real, but then there's some other aspects to it too." That's the layman's term way of explaining it, but sometimes it helps.
Yeah, but like that approach of talking about, hey, this is a recurring subscription based business. Like you started that because they, like you said, they're putting in the like lease advertisement for the spaces that no martial arts, no use for this. We don't want this. Yeah. I feel like a lot of landlords got burned during COVID too. A lot of people, there's a lot of negativity that's put out there in media on landlords. But the reality is, like, they're just like everybody else. They have to pay a mortgage, right? And the commercial mortgages, there was no moratorium during COVID and they still had to pay. And they had tenants who wanted to pay, but maybe they couldn't because of government mandates and stuff like that too. So
Right.
it's understandable, but it's like to get your foot in that door, no doesn't always mean no.
Yeah.
Is like kind of what we learned on that, right? So with that, what do you think through like our license program that you're part of? What was one system from that was the biggest takeaway that you implemented right away that you saw like an effect with?
The simplicity of the classes. The simpler, the better, because you wanna teach to the lowest level, and then you go around the room and you're like, "Hey, add this. Hey, add that," you know? That way you're not making people feel like they're falling behind. Instead, you're just giving a little extra to someone else, right? And then that makes them in turn actually feel almost special too. So everybody feels a little bit more confident when they're in class.
Yeah. For those that don't know the martial arts industry, your class is your product, right?
Mhm.
So it's like you have to always be teaching an excellent class. And sometimes it's not easy. You got family, you got kids, you got stress, like all these, just like everybody else, right? So like having that base curriculum, like class structure to go off of, it helps you kind of know, like, hey, even if you have all that going on, you're still gonna be able to deliver an excellent class.
Right. Being able to review that too before the class, you don't wanna be sitting there reading off the sheet as you're teaching, right?
Yeah.
So You always want to look it over, make sure you understand the content. And then maybe if you don't, you ask a question, or, you have to make a quick little adjustment real quick and then ask later. So, but you want to have an idea of how your whole class is going to be shaped up beforehand without reading that sheet, right? So,
With that too, how did having a marketing and business system already laid out change your startup experience?
as I was about to say, I was debating two right there, which was going to be the most important thing. So I don't know which one we were looking for, but that was very important. The lead generation, going from Google, being able to get the Google page and then guiding them to the website. Same with like any Facebook, Instagram stuff, having that guide them over to that website where they fill out that form, right? Where it's going to give their name, their number, all that stuff. And it's going to allow them to sign up for their trial, whether it's paid, free trial, whatever that is. That's just working on the back end while you're sleeping.
Yeah, because people can book classes and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
you get the notification, hey, this you got a new intro, right?
Right. That I got 3 yesterday. I woke up and I look at my phone and I got trial all planned. I'm like, nice. I need to. One thing I noticed too is almost every Saturday night when people are like out, like watching like maybe the boxing fights or the UFC fights, all of a sudden I get a booking. Well,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny how the timing always works out. Maybe,
I see that too. It could be people watching fights, hanging out with their friends. I also think like end of the week, some people they finally like maybe they take some time for themselves,
yeah,
right? So they're finally like maybe they're doom scrolling and they see your stuff, or they're hey, I want to find like an active. I want to find like a like UFC. I want to find MMA. I want to do something like this.
right.
What's nearby me, and then they kind of start looking on Google, like you said, they find you through there and they're filtering in through and they're calling or they're you fill out a trial form to come in and learn more about your programs.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, what do you see about like our licensee program that you've experienced that was like a surprise the first time you experienced it?
Automation and just having a good, like, where I'm not feeling like I'm cold calling a bunch of people where it's like, hey, they already filled this out. They gave us this. They even maybe sent a message on the side. So, you're reaching out to a warm lead half the time, and you can kind of judge that based on how much information they filled out as well. But yeah, and then just having it so that basically they can pretty much start it and all you're doing is you're calling and you're just confirming that they're going to show up. So
Yeah.
that's kind of nice, you don't feel like you're just blasting out calls because when you get 50 no's in a row, I don't care what anybody says, like it starts to wear on you, right?
Oh, it's mentally draining, man.
Yeah. So, there's days where I'm like, oh, I can't handle 30 no's today. And that's, like, just honest, like, and, you're gonna hear all these videos of people online, "Oh, get used to hearing no, blah, it's a numbers game, you just keep going." Yeah, it's cool to say that, right? But at a certain point, you need a bone thrown at you, right?
Yeah.
So, having those warm leads, you're gonna get more of those bones.
Yeah. And it's like the thing is like what a lot of people don't know too is even with that, like even when we do call people, right? We get a lot of people, a lot of voicemails, text messages. We've had a lot of conversations since he started. It was like, hey man, when these people ever gonna come in, right? I'm like, hey, the analogy I like to use and we share it with our team is a lot of the people who opt in to try, they want to try it, they're on fire. They have some kind of pain, like they're burning. We have the bucket of water in our academies to be able to put them out, but they're all on varying degrees of burning stages. All right. Some people are flaming hot, like they're like they need it, they want it now. They need it now. They're ready to go. We're gonna help them. Right. There's some people it's kind of like they don't realize they're really on fire, or maybe it's not that bad. And they're kind of just like, oh yeah, I'll get to it eventually. I'll call them. I'll call them tomorrow, or one day I'll call them, right? Rather than it being day one. So I know that's like a big one that I've noticed. And even on those days where it's like you are getting a lot of that, like knowing that you're going to be ultimately helping people when they do come in, I think is probably one of the bigger things that you're helping fulfill a purpose too in your community there.
Right. Yeah, and two, there's the residual effect of doing that. So you're gonna reach out to people, you're gonna send them 3 text messages, call them, you're gonna get voicemail every time, you're gonna text message every time, but they don't type stop back to you, they don't unsubscribe from your email, they want to do it. And you're just basically setting yourself so that when they finally get around doing it, it might be a year from now, they're going to have your place in mind.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're shooting that call, you're shooting that text, not for next week, not for the week after, but for next year. And, sometimes I'm a very impatient person. Like, I'm like, when I want something, like, I want it right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not someone who sits around. So that's been a hard thing for me is like, I'm like, hey, you coming in? Like, they're like, oh, thinking about it. And I'm like, oh, whatever. This guy's not serious at all.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. But he's got to be patient with people too. People are going to come in when they're ready.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about like your growth and some of your wins. Obviously, at the beginning it was slow, right? Because you were in a different location.
Yeah. So originally I rented like a little yoga studio and it was 25 feet by 25 feet. It was tiny, right? It was 500 square feet. And I just had, 30 puzzle mats. I was in a part of town, though, where there was 3 other Muay Thai places or, kickboxing or MMA places within like a 5 square mile radius. Me. So I found that it was pretty hard to like stand out, especially when I'm working with, 30 mats and a small space. And then these people can go down the street and they have like a full like bags, they got a ring, they got all this stuff. So I made a decision I literally typed in Google Maps, I typed in Muay Thai. I scanned the whole area, right? The whole Denver area. And I was like, where is there like just a gap where there's nothing? Right. So I see Parker and I grew up in Parker actually. So it's just kind of funny like that. And I already had that in my mind. I'm like, how do I get down there? Right. And then randomly, I don't know if I put it out in the universe or whatever. There was a guy who owned a Jiu Jitsu academy and he won the Muay Thai program. Well, he said he did. He won the Muay Thai program inside of his Jiu Jitsu academy because his instructor wasn't working out for whatever reason. I told him I'm not looking to be an employee, right? I want to run my own program. I want Teep City
Yeah.
Mid.
Well,
You agree?
at that time, you and I were having a lot of conversations about navigating that too, or doing some consulting stuff.
Yeah.
We're going through that too, because it's a for anybody that doesn't know, it's like the culture from jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, there's some similarities, but they're also very different, right?
Yes.
So technically you're a competing business running inside of the business. Like there is competition there regardless. It's similar, different or not. You're gonna have people who are there at jiu-jitsu and they see Muay Thai and they go, oh, I want to do that. Or they have people who are at Muay Thai and they're like, Muay Thai is not for me, but jiu-jitsu is for me, right? So like there can be a blend, but it's one of those things that from a business standpoint has to be navigated very thoughtfully. I think. And I think you did a pretty good job navigating through that stuff too.
Yeah, you already gave me, all the warnings and stuff about, hey, when you end up growing bigger than this guy, there is gonna be some, animosity maybe, or there's gonna be some awkwardness, or there's gonna be, there's a potential for that to ability.
All right, well, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, you also have to, talk like we talked with him, like with people, anybody who's listening out there too, you're doing something like this. Like, even if you think you're never gonna leave that place, talk about what's gonna happen when you leave that place.
Right.
Right? Like, hey, when I do expand and I grow, what happens with the students that are paying you, and then you're paying me from those students? Like, you have to talk about these things also, so that way it's upfront, and that way when it happens, it's kind of like it's more of a, it's like, okay, like this is what we agreed on, this is what we're gonna do, rather than leaving it to fate, because
Yeah.
that one person could be thinking another thing, another person, everybody has their own different thoughts on business and stuff like that too. So it's important to have those conversations up front. Hey, this is what's going to happen in this scenario. If this happens, this is what we're going to do. What do you think? And navigating those conversations and just having it, even if it's in an email, like just writing. So that way you guys can always reference it. Like, what did we say we were going to do? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did have that conversation before. We actually had a few different conversations about that. But, originally the plan was, he wanted to retire and we had to take a step back a little bit. And when he didn't get the extension of his lease into the neighboring space, every plan we had went out the window. So
That happens too for anybody in business.
yeah,
Always have a plan, but stuff happens. Shit happens, right?
yeah, and like when we broke, it was generally clean. I'd say there was a few things that maybe at the time I was pretty annoyed at, but I'd say all said and done, it wasn't the messiest break I've ever seen. Um, it did leave me shut down for 4 weeks though.
I remember you're flipping out.
Yeah, because I built up over like a 6 month, 7 month period. I built up a 40 student roster within that time, and overnight gone, right?
Yeah.
With about 2 weeks notice. So when I had to start navigating, I was looking for a space that would just rent to me, and I didn't have the business financials beforehand because he was paying me. So the students were paying him, and then he was turning around and paying me with that money. So I didn't really have anything other than that 1099 to show from him a percentage of what I was getting. So
Yeah.
going from that into a lease wasn't going to happen. I had to show actual bank statement financials and stuff. And that the $1,500 I was making a month, which is nothing, wasn't going to cut it. So that's where I found I found a karate studio that they had a separate room on the upstairs that they just called it their bag room that sat vacant most of the day. And I was able to move into there. And that was able, I just paid them rent. So that's what we originally were looking for. But
Yeah.
I just couldn't find that. And then once that was there, I could get some of my students, some of them, to re-sign back up with me under my name, right?
Yeah. So let's rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
So at what point in this journey from when you were in the 25-foot by 25-foot yoga studio that you were subleasing
Yeah.
to the karate school where you were starting to like build students under your own system and stuff like that.
Right.
At what point did you want to quit? Or how many times did you want to quit there? Or, like you were worried or freaked out that this was not going to work out.
I was maybe a couple days away from throwing in the towel. And
I remember this conversation, by the way.
yeah, I pretty much did in a sense. But when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped again. But when I had that 14-day notice to vacate the Jiu Jitsu Academy, and I couldn't find a spot by the end of the month, like who would, right? You got 2 weeks to do it. At that point, money stopped coming in, and I went and I got a job.
Mhm.
And you've done some work for the guy, but I went and picked up a job, and I was doing like apartment turns and stuff like that. And he was paying me like somewhat decent, I was able to get by. It was a cool job, I didn't mind it, but I have a vision of like where I want my life to be and all that. And that wasn't going to be it. It was great though for temporary, but as I'm working there those first 3 weeks and I'm not getting any bites on anything, I almost just said, I guess I'm just going to start working here now.
Yeah.
And one of the schools, the karate school I went to 3 weeks before that said they weren't going to lease me any space. They don't have any room for it because I'm a competing business. I got a text message that, hey, are you still looking to rent space? And it was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not like religious or anything, but I feel like that was like something being sent down,
Yeah. Meant to happen, man.
Yeah. And I was like, yes, I am. So that was like the bone I got thrown where it kept me going.
Yeah.
Right. So then that's where I'm having to rebuild my whole program again. I have 40 students. I'm back into that little karate studio space. I'm at 9 students. I almost did not recover even 25% of the students from the Jiu Jitsu Academy, which was, mind you, 3 minutes down the road.
Yeah, it's normal to happen though. Like anytime you it's hard. Let's fast forward a little bit on this. So
Mhm.
how did you shape the culture at Teep City Muay Thai where you're at now? Because like you went from this karate place,
Yeah.
right? And you were there, you're building up, and all of a sudden this lease came in, right? So the opportunity to lease a place. So let's walk through that a little bit. Like when it came into the lease process, like I know we had a lot of conversations about navigating that stuff too. What were some of the hurdles that you had faced during that time that we talked about?
I'd say the first hurdle was the fact that it took a whole year almost. It almost took a year to get everything.
Negotiate it, right? And then get it done.
Yep, yep. So originally I looked at the space and I told them I wanted it September, I think it was like September 15th, 2024.
Mm.
Our official move-in date wasn't till June 9th of 25. So that's how long it took. And what the hurdles were within that was first in negotiating. I also had a real estate agent that would just go silent on me.
For anybody out there that doesn't know, this is very noble. I also want to give a shout out real quick on that note, Eric. So we're doing a little giveaway of my book, preparing for your first Muay Thai fight. So if you win this giveaway, you don't have to be following anybody on here. Whatnot can get it. I'll write you a personal note in here as well. I'll reach out to you after the show to ask what you want written in it. But going on to any, like, for the broker, this is a very common thing. For those that don't know, like in real estate, for homes and for commercial, anybody can go get their real estate license and start doing this, right? So it doesn't make them good. And I feel like it's very common for this scenario to happen where you have the real estate agent or somebody in the process. Maybe you have a great real estate agent where they just aren't doing their job. It's kind of like, let's take everybody back. It's like the high school project where you have 3 people and one of them's not doing the work and you got to figure out how to pull the load, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And a lot of blame going this way, that way, this way. On like who wasn't doing. I'd put them all in one email and I'd blast them. I was
Yeah, man. Well, I told you, you're like, I haven't heard from them. I'm like, dude, you need to, like, I'm like, you call them every day, email them and follow up email after you send, like, you leave a voicemail. You have to. I'm like, it's your livelihood and it's your dream. Like, you need to make this happen, right? Because I remember at some point, man, I don't know if this is gonna happen. And that's kind of where that quit, like, I almost threw in the towel kind of thing came in. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because it just felt like I was just being dragged along the whole time, and I had a few different places. There was one other option where I could at least, but the space was half the size at the same price. And so I really wanted this one to work out. So I think I was being more than patient. I was almost like, hey, I got to balance being patient, but also not being an idiot too. I got to find out where I go. But yeah, I put them all in a group message, send them stuff, and I get a message back from one of the agents, hey, this shouldn't be a conversation between all of us or something like that. I'm like, at least I pissed her off and got her the answer, right?
Yeah, at least they got a response, right? Because it's like you were sitting there, like I said, almost over a year negotiating this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there was a lot of fire code issues with the building I'm in, as far as the occupancy, what's allowed in there, because we had one exit. And because we got one exit, I had to lay out the way the mats were. I had to show them where the bags were going to be, where I'm going to put seats and everything, and before they'd approve it. And the guy was just, nothing was ever good enough for him. We had to write up the blueprint 50 times until he approved it.
Wait, to get it approved too, I remember you were waiting for the approval.
Oh yeah. So
What did I tell you to do?
I had to walk down to city council, which you told me to do. I had to walk down into their building, and I'm like, I need to talk to this guy. Oh, well, he's at lunch. Cool, I'll wait. So I sat in that building for like an hour until he walked back in. And once I met him,
Real quick, hold that thought, Eric. Andrew FP 21, congratulations! I got this book for you, man. That's our giveaway of the day. Preparing for your first Muay Thai fight. I will send this out to you. Can't wait to read it. Awesome, man. It's a guide on Muay Thai. If it's for you or for somebody else, shoot me a message. Let me know what you want me to write. I'm going to sign it for you too. Okay. All right. So continue, Eric.
remind me where we're at.
Where we were at was your fire code issues. All right. And you went down there and talked to city council. You camped out in the building because they said he was at lunch and you said, oh, I'll wait.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, it's either I already drove 45 minutes over there. I'm not leaving until I talk to somebody. So once I talk to him a little bit, all of a sudden I tell him, hey, I got a baby on the way. I'm dropping everything to make this guy want to work with me. I'm very nice. Well, so, and that went a long way. All of a sudden I was a priority in his head, where before it was kind of faceless, right?
Yeah. It humanized the interaction, right?
Right.
Because they could put a face to it. It's like, hey, this guy's from Parker. He's got a kid on the way. He's trying to get his business going. He's trying to serve the community.
Yeah, exactly. So the ball got moving real quick after that. So that was like the final hurdle I had to do. And because I was going back and forth with my contractor, I was going back and forth with the landlord, and they're like, just waiting to hear back, waiting to hear back, waiting to hear back. So I went in there and I made it happen. It wouldn't have happened. It just would have been sitting on someone's desk until they disapproved it. But that was important to do that.
So now that you worked through that, you got your place open. It's
Yeah.
like a beautiful academy there in Parker.
Mhm.
We got new mats. Like I remember you were going through all the floor plan layout. I remember you sending over like your drawings, and when you're going through that review process, and you're like, and I just remember us talking so many times. Like this is gonna like, I'm so stoked for you to see what you're gonna do for your community there in Parker, and they're so lucky to have a place like that to train at and a coach like you. So with that, is there any memorable stories so far about students that you've had that started with you that have transformed?
Yeah, I have a bunch. There's a kid I have, and I trained him when he was 14 years old. Dylan. I used to train him back when I was 20, 21 years old over at UFC gym. And I trained dad together, and, he was trying to always like lose weight, get into shape. And, we had a little success here and there, but he never like fully like made the full transformation, right? About 5, 6 years passed since I trained the kid, and now he's 24 years old,
Wow.
23, 24. And I tell him, I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're wanting to get back into it, but I'm moving to Parker. I'm gonna open Deep City Muay Thai. It would be great to have you in. And he's like, okay. So kid shows up like pretty early on in the process, and he's about 230 pounds, something like that. Back when I was training, he was maybe like 190. He was literally almost at every single class, every single day. And within a matter of, 3, 4 months, he was 170 pounds, and he weighed at the same as me.
Wow.
Just all that weight. He wasn't looking to like fight or anything, but then all of a sudden he just started getting good. And there was a IKF point Muay Thai coming up.
Step my contacts, right?
Yeah, and at first he didn't want to do it. He's like, whatever. And the night before, he's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do this. Because we had a great sparring session the night before, and I was getting in there with them. I got my gloves on, and I was kind of upset. I was like, it's a shame he's not doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the night before he just signs up, he goes in. I mean, he gets DQ'd for knocking the kid out, but that being said, it's like he also hit the kid, and the kid just collapsed. I was like, come on,
It happens. The
Yeah.
for those that don't know, semi contact to wait for like people to get their feet wet in it. There's not supposed to be any knockouts. So even if it was like accidental, whatever it is, it's
Right.
still a disqualification. So,
So
but you're happy as a coach.
yeah, I mean, he stepped up, and he showed, and then we actually did the last IKF as well, and he fought someone that just got DQ'd from another match for. I was like, it's perfect. Put them together.
Yeah. You guys can both go. You need to match to their skill level.
Yeah, so, he's a big success story. I have a bunch more. I have a 16-year-old kid, came in, couldn't even do a squat, couldn't like do a push-up, anything like that. And the kid just is literally, I don't think he's missed a class in like 5 months.
No
I
way.
missed it.
He's 16.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's missed a class in like 6 months. And like I'm sparring him, he's tricking me, he's like faking me out, he's like putting
What's his name?
his name's Braden.
Braden, keep killing it, dude.
Yeah, so he's doing awesome. So he's someone that, I most teenagers, they don't really stick with something, but he's one of the exceptions. And it's just awesome to see, you know. Teenagers always have so many sports going on all the time, and for the most part, and this kid didn't really have any sports, so it's just, this is what he fell into. And I'm trying to get him a fight right now, actually, and I'm looking forward to watching him go again because he stepped up on the last one and did awesome. So
Yeah. Bring the kids out to the tournaments, man. That's all I gotta say. Like I know those are good things. I know Oscar has the smokers he does at Muay Thai Colorado gym and stuff like that out there. And
yeah, we actually will show up on last Saturday, but I guess there wasn't enough turnout, and they ended up canceling it. So I was
Once all that happens, the time seems to
like,
do like there's so many things that go into that, man.
right.
For like flow that I've learned, like just being around it. I know you have too. Let's go through. So, how do you feel like being a part of Pu'u Muay Thai? Us talking. How do you stay connected to Pu'u Muay Thai?
Yeah, I mean, me and you, we definitely have a couple conversations a month. T- That always helps. Following the licensee program and all that, going through the class structures. And the nice part about that is it actually keeps everybody like routinely working on everything, right? So,
Yeah, because it cycles through everything. So that way, you're not forgetting like what bases to touch in that training, right?
yeah, it's like you don't go and you're like, oh, we haven't drawn a teep in a month and a half. You don't encounter that type of stuff by staying on structure. And if you're not structured and you're not planning out your program and stuff, you need to.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So if you're not, either you got to start writing down some classes and have an organization, or that's a lot of work, or you
Yeah.
can get the program. So, which helps.
Yeah, but like that going through the curriculum, like I went through every week for over like 2 or 3 years. I just wrote down what our training program was
Mhm.
the week, and I would iterate it and then structure it, redo it again, like as we went through until we like format it into what it is. And
So years.
yeah, literal years, and not to mention the years of like all the training stuff that like we did ourselves, right? That allows us to apply this knowledge.
Right.
And that's one of those things like it's plug and play in the sense that if you have the skills, this will help your business and allow you to teach a Muay Thai program, run a Muay Thai academy. And for anybody that's might be listening to this or watching, what would you tell someone thinking about opening up a Muay Thai program?
I guess it depends on where they'd want to start, but I would say be structured, have systems in place to collect leads. I'd say be very social, like reach out to people, send messages, even if it's not direct. Hey, it'd be good to have you come in sometime, drop in, and just send a friendly message like that, hey, great job with your fight, and just stay in the community, stay active with people and reach out.
Well, what would you say for anybody that's might be listening to this, if they're thinking about opening up a Muay Thai program and using the Pu'u Muay Thai license program?
I was gonna say have them talk to you, but yeah, I'd say I recommend it, especially with how much help, you can be. And then you also have your other side of your business where the web design as well and creating all that. That's crucial,
Yeah.
because social media is great. You have your Instagram and your Facebook, and those are great, but those are bonuses, right? Your structure needs to definitely be Google, right? You have to have Google. That's like number one.
Well, that's changing now, by the way.
You think so? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of the generative AI search, Google's trying to catch up with
Right.
their Gemini stuff, but I think what you mean is like the Google profile, right? The Google business profile is very key, and I think that'll continue to be key for a while for anybody like
Yeah.
free game out there. Like, hit me up if you have free training course on like how to optimize it and stuff too.
Yeah.
But I agree with you 100% on that with the Google business profile for sure.
Yeah. You're not just going to have an Instagram profile and build a whole academy. It's a great tool. It's awesome. I've gotten a good amount of people from it, but by itself, I think you need more than that. It's more in the web and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, and it's like social media. That's one of those things like you're mentioning people messaging others on there. So people have to remember too. You need a system. If you have the social media, you have to respond to it. Don't leave stupid people unread, right? Like we need a. Even I know that like for me, we get flooded by the like when you're in martial arts school, you get flooded from these guys from Silcot, Pakistan that will tell you stuff. Some of them are good, right? I know you've gotten some stuff made from there. So
yeah, I'm a
uh,
chance.
yeah, but you have to know and respond to people because somebody might be inquiring about classes because they saw your page or someone shared your stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you need a place to go to be able to respond to that or automate some of that follow up from there to collect the information. So that way you can, to make that phone call or to shoot them a text.
Right. Yeah. You're
I don't know.
sometimes you're missing on the hottest leads too, because it's some of those people that are like, I want it now.
Yeah. How do you get started?
And if you wait 4 hours, they may have looked at another place. Find
So, what do you think stops most people from succeeding when they try to do it alone, like start a business alone?
I think lack of direction and fear of failure is really the biggest two, in my opinion. And just the lack of direction, just kind of like, I don't know what to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't, but I look at people who have done it and I ask them, and everyone's done it differently too. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
one way to do it, like my way was building up through, trial and error at the first place, but then building up through a jujitsu in a jujitsu place on the side, and then moving that into karate. But then there's other people too where they have a friend that dumps $2 million into their business and they open up the most beautiful academy ever. And they're like, all right, come in, you know? So then there's that way of doing it.
But
That wasn't,
that, by the way, I've seen a lot of those businesses that were like that, and they died within the first 3 years
yeah,
because they didn't know they had this big injection of money, but they didn't know how to make money so that way it could sustain itself.
right.
And for anybody that might be listening, like the point of business is to make money to sustain the business, right? If the business isn't making money, is losing money over time. If you don't have another job or a career that, we're not millionaires, right? It needs to
Yeah.
make money for it to be able to sustain itself, pay people, and sustain the ownership and stuff like that, the lease, all the, you know, insurance, the, continuing education, employees, like everything that goes into it. It's a lot
Yeah.
for our business. I know you're not at the stage yet for like the having employees, but like the profit margins for a martial arts school is actually is very small,
Yeah.
especially in Muay Thai. It's a very niche, specialized skill.
Hmm.
So you have to foster that, and it takes time to foster that skill.
Right. I mean, you do it because you love it, right?
Exactly.
You're not,
I'm not doing it for the big payday.
yeah, we'd be in finance if we were doing that. And, it's not to say that there isn't money to be made. Like you can still like make like a decent living,
Yes.
but you,
It's just different. I guess that I'm talking more for the people who might be listening, might be students that are out there, people that like maybe they might be thinking about this. Cause like I've had people they'll like turn to look at me, man, you guys must be killing it. It's like, dude, you didn't see what we just had to deal with like the past
yeah,
3 months. Like our roof collapsed, our sewer line called backed up. I had somebody who was suing us. Like you don't like comprehend because we don't put all that stuff out there for people to be aware of it because we want them to
right.
focus on the training, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things on the back end that people don't quite understand.
I just their thing the other day, actually. It was funny. They're like, oh man, you're so busy. You guys are killing it. I was like, yeah, all the profits from last month went into that new bag cage there.
Yeah, I saw you those bag setups like the steel and stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah, it looks nice, man.
Right. Yeah. It's, from the rafters. And that way we're not taking up floor space for posts.
Oh, dude, yeah, I saw it. I'm like, that is great. I'm sure your downstairs neighbors appreciate it too.
I'm sure.
So, how has the mentorship and like consulting support that we've given you impacted your growth personally and professionally?
Very good. But yeah, just being able to like have that responsibility on me too, and being the one that like the decision has to be made, like I'm the one that has to do it. So taking that on, but that's also personally grown me a lot. I used to be very much of a people pleaser, and I still am to an extent, but I also have a line where I draw where I'm like, no. And it's helped me personally be more like assertive and not get pushed around by people and actually respect my own time and everything. I used to not respect my time as much. And, when people know you don't respect your time, they take advantage. So if they know your time is valuable, you attract people that around you that are going to respect it as well. So that's like one thing that like growing through this academy has helped with a ton. And then as far as, the systems in place, I've personally grown with being a little bit more tech. Well, I've been, it's been a hurdle for me because I'm kind of dumb when it comes to like technology and stuff. And you probably know it's when I first started, but
Oh, dude, it's normal. It's a
Yeah.
whole new field. Like people don't realize when you open up a place, like, you're becoming. You have to know how to do this stuff. Like
Yeah.
you can of course pay somebody to do it. Like people could pay us to do it for them, but that costs money. If you don't have that money, you have to learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah, even just making like QR codes, payment links, and then creating new subscriptions on the site and creating the product and uploading images and being able to send them just stuff like that, updating the website,
Sending text messages like from the system, all that stuff too.
exactly, setting up some automation. And it's like at first I looked at this and I was like, I'm gonna bang my head into a wall because, but you start learning one thing and then you learn another thing, and then before you know it, you're just using it.
Just zipping through, and you're just like, oh, this is just how you do the thing, right?
Yeah, and I still have troubles, but at least now, like 9 out of 10 times I can figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
sure because you get a lot less loom videos from me.
Yeah, but I mean, this is normal. Like when it comes into anything you're learning. So, what's next for Teep City Muay Thai?
My next goal is to get to 100 students. So,
Where are you guys at currently?
I think we're around 70.
Wow, man,
Yeah,
that's great.
but yeah, my goal is 100 by the end of the year, and that's where I want to be by January 1st. And I'm already looking at the space next door. That's an extra 2,000 square feet.
Is it vacant?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, and that way we can get a ring in there. But if
little by little, man.
I'm not jumping on it too early,
Exactly.
we gotta the way I've built the whole business is I didn't spend $100,000 right out the gate and put myself in a bad debt situation, right? I've
Yeah.
built up and I've built it as I built it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna continue using that, and then that way it's just I'm not gonna be stressed out. Because if I start getting stressed out, I'm gonna be giving off bad energy. I'm the face in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So I gotta be in a good mood all the time. But yeah, that's kind of my short-term goals there. In 5 years, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
But I know the immediate future. I'm coming out there in what 2 weeks.
Yes.
I'll be out there in 2 weeks, Deep City Muay Thai for a Muay Thai seminar. Come check out the academy. It's not. It'll be nice to see it in person.
Yeah, yeah. And don't forget, if you guys book the seminar, because you guys are gonna get a lot of great information from Jonathan and helped me grow a lot. So I just want to extend that out to you that I think it's well worth the money in this one wait. So
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. How can people find you?
you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, Google,
Okay, what do they search to find you on Instagram and everything?
Teep City Muay Thai.
Keep saying Muay Thai. If anybody's listening to this later on the podcast or on YouTube, it'll be down in the show notes and the description as well. So, if you're watching this out there and you thought about opening up a Muay Thai academy, reach out to us. Just go to license.puumuaythai.com, fill out the form. There's also a free training video. Eric, I didn't tell you about this, but I got a video that walks through a lot of those first processes to get started. I actually documented everything, and I'm giving it away for free. So if anybody's interested in learning how to start up their program, you have the skills and you just want to know some of the business stuff, I'm giving it away. So I have that license.puumuaythai.com. Would you tell people to go check that out if they're interested? If it's free.
Yeah, they should. Worth money. Perfect.
It gives them all the groundwork where it talks about pricing, finding like sublease, all that stuff to get started. So with that, Eric, thanks for coming in today, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. I'm in Nashville this weekend. Have a great kick-ass afternoon at the academy, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody's on here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, I will see you in the next episode. So what do you got?